Hello, I'm Micah. This is my exhibit at the Corner Gallery, and I've got a hodgepodge of different photographs here on different medias. Typically I'd like to put something together that just focuses on one thing, but I wanted to do a variety for this exhibit. So I've got wildlife on this wall, astral photography over here on this wall. You want to go by photos or just some different things? So this is a couple of photos that I took of the Milky Way at some of our national parks. This was done at Arches National Park. This was done at Capitol Reefs National Park. This is a dark sky park, if you're familiar with that term. That's where there's very little outside light. So when there's no moon, it's a very dark place. It's great for capturing stars in the Milky Way. Some more? So this was done, I did this photo with the branches of this dead tree to try to capture some of the dark branches in the Milky Way, and that's caused by the dark spots in the Milky Way are caused by interstellar stardust, which blocks all of the light coming through, so you kind of get that branching effect. So I wanted to kind of mirror that with the dead branches of the tree. I thought it was kind of a neat effect. Here we have some photos of the 2017 solar eclipse. This is a panoramic done of 9 different photos, a composite photo. We have the 2 on each side of the full eclipse. We have what they call the diamond rings, and each side of that are progressive photos of the eclipse. Below it is a nighttime storm photo that I took out in Linden, Colorado, out on the plains. Late at night, as a storm approached from the west, I had originally gone out to shoot the Milky Way, but a storm rolled in, so I started shooting the lightning instead, and it was a lot of fun. Got a little too close, but these are some more of the total solar eclipse, again with the 2 diamond rings, the full eclipse. These are done on a metallic paper with an acrylic overlay. 2 smaller photos. You probably can't see the details, but the top one has coronal mass ejections. Sometimes they're called solar flares, where you can see some of the flames and plasma shooting out the side of the sun. That's kind of neat. This one has the Bailey's beads effect, where you can see some of the Bailey's beads down on the lower left-hand side. That's caused by valleys and ridges on the moon that are from crater impacts. So the circumference of the moon is not actually very smooth when you look at it, and during the eclipse, some of the higher points will block out the sun sooner, and you get what they call beads, or Bailey's beads. And this is some of my wildlife photography, taken from different parks and some in my backyard. I like this one. This was a bull elk that I took in Rocky Mountain National Park during the rut season, and he's bugling. He's making his call out in the meadows. And I liked how he tilted his head back so his antlers appeared kind of like a crown from side to side. The hummingbird on the end I shot in my backyard this fall.
Your backyard?
In the backyard, yeah. This is a lamb. It's a baby bighorn sheep. I took that in Yellowstone National Park on Mount Washington. And he was very curious. He came running down the mountainside to check out the humans, to see us. I was actually shooting a marmot in front of me, and he ran between me and the marmot. And he was blocking my view, and I looked up, and there he was, standing right in front of me. And his mom came charging in behind him, and she came skidding in between me and the baby, and we were kind of had a close encounter with the bighorn sheep there. And his mom encouraged him to keep going down the mountain, and that was the last look he took at us as he was leaving. He looked over his shoulder at us and then followed his brother and mother on down the mountain. It was a pretty neat moment. The goose torpedo. I took this with you guys last spring, or this spring?
This spring.
It was this spring, yeah. That was out at Rocky Mountain Arsenal National Park. And in this case, the goose was off by himself. They usually chase predators or other geese like that, but he was out just cruising by himself, and it seemed like he was just enjoying the speed on the nice day. The mirror-like lake, you get a nice reflection from that. This is a photo of a pelican I took in Cozumel. You probably can't see in the video, but there's a lot of nice detail in the feathers and stuff. That's one of the reasons I like that photo.
We will
so much.
try.
You can actually see a little sharp hook on his beak.
Oh, we can see.
So I was kind of impressed. For me, I thought I was pretty impressed, considering it was in flight, flying along, and I was able to get such a clear photo of him. Right above him are the yellow marmots, or yellow-bellied marmots. And these two were playing this summer out in Rocky Mountain National Park. And I'm assuming they're two siblings. They were wrestling around, tumbling around the rocks for a couple of hours, and practicing all their best moves on each other. It was pretty cute. And it was kind of funny. He was biting the other one's nose. It reminded me of the Charlie Bit My Finger video on YouTube. No marmots were harmed in that picture taking. These are some landscape photos that I've taken. This is on a metal. It's called dye sublimation. It's where the dye from the print is actually infused into the metal, and then it has a glossy finish put over the top of it. So that's why these are highly glossy, highly reflective. It's very durable. Some type of these you can actually put outside and leave for a couple years, and they won't fade.
Yellowstone?
This is actually at Yellowstone. This is Canary Springs that we visited at Mammoth Springs. Very pretty area. Up above it is in Utah. And this is called Barney Top Mountain out here. Very beautiful. The sunsets are very gorgeous out there because of the colors in the stone with the reds and yellows and whites. Down below here is Death Valley. This is taken from Dante's view. And this is along the Black Mountains at Coffin Peak. So a lot of kind of scary terms.
Yeah, you said it's very durable, right?
The metal ones are very durable. Yeah. There's a type of these ones you don't want to actually put outside, but there's another one that's just like this that you actually put outside and leave it outside for years at a time, and it won't fade or start to degrade. This is very durable. Interesting media to print on. This is taken in Hawaii. This is on the southwestern side of Maui. There's a highway, Peilani Highway. They also call it the Back Road to Hana. And it's just south of here. It gets very scary. It hugs the cliff sides, and it's hairpin turns along a cliff that with no guardrails that fall a couple hundred feet down to the ocean. So you have to go really slow. And even along here, you have to go really slow. As you can see, it kind of goes up and down through the hills. I almost hit a cow just after this. I took this photo. So it was, a cow was just standing over the top of a hill. I came up over the hill and nearly smacked into him. But very beautiful. This is during sunset. You can see the road is so worn down that the sun reflects off of it, and you kind of see like a ribbon of light going off down the side of the mountain. On this side is the volcano. This is all lava that had swept down to the ocean. This is a very rugged terrain, but very beautiful. Very, very beautiful area. This one is taken at Rollins Pass here in Colorado. This I took many, many years ago, probably, 12, 13 years ago. And the trestle, this is one of the old remaining train trestles from that era. And it's built of wood and was never intended to be a permanent structure, but it's still there today. It's one of the last remaining pieces of that railroad. These three are also on metal dye sublimation prints. The top two are with a shear coating, and what that does, it allows the aluminum to reflect some of the lighter areas. So as you move around, the light areas in these actually appear to glow. I don't know if you can pick it up on the videos. Sometimes you got to kind of move around it, but it's a very interesting effect. This is from Vancouver. This was taken out in the harbor, looking on the east side of Vancouver, from a ship that we chartered. This one is in Minneapolis, of course. This is the Mississippi looking towards downtown Minneapolis with the Stone Arch River Bridge on the right side. And then this, of course, is the Colorado State Capitol. I like this one. It was a storm that just broke, and we were getting some of the evening light coming through the storm, and it lit up the building. So something I kind of liked with the colors.
I will show them again.
Of course, this is Dome of the Rock, very famous point on top of Temple Mount. A very beautiful building.
Jerusalem.
And this is also done on metal. So you get a nice bright colors, crisp. This is done in the Jewish quarter in Old Jerusalem. And we were walking around the city streets one morning. A couple of folks were approaching us from down the street. And I like the colors in here and the shadows versus the light, the contrasts. Very beautiful scene. This is the Grand Prismatic Spring in Yellowstone. That photo was the reason for about a 2-week trip that I took. I saw a picture of this on a website, and I couldn't believe that it actually existed because of the colors. It's an amazing place. If you can get up high, I climbed a hillside on the back side of it so I could look down at it and to take this picture. It's the largest hot spring in the United States. And the colors are from bacterial mats that form around the edges, different types of bacteria and different types of temperature, which causes the coloring. Very, very interesting place to see. Above it, this is the flat irons.
Well, let me stay a little bit on the bottom one.
Okay.
It's so good colors, so beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing, amazing place. It's
Okay,
nothing like any place on the planet.
I think so.
It's pretty amazing. Up above it here is the flat irons. These are kind of associated with Boulder, Colorado. Mostly they're just to the south of Boulder, along the foothills. They're called the flat irons because when you get up close to them, they kind of resemble the old-fashioned irons that used to put on the stove to heat up. There was another speculation that they were possibly named after the Flatiron Building in New York, which was a big, tall, flat building. And this is taken from the Flatiron Vista of Highway 93. Beautiful area. Big, flat, rolling plains that go right up to the edge of the mountains. So these are a couple of prints I took in Venice years back. They're done on what they call thin wrap canvas, so that you can hang them right on the wall. They have a float mount on the back, which is kind of nice. So they're kind of ready to hang. This is an image of taking one of the canals. The Grand Canal is in the back here. One of the things I liked about this photo, of course, is the bright colors, the reds of the cushions contrasting with the darkness. Some of the lines of the image with the canal running up and down, I thought was interesting. This photo next to it is of the bridge's size. So on this side of the bridge, the prisons were, and on the other side of the bridge is where the Doge's palace was. That's where they held their trials. It's called the Bridge of Sighs because the prisoners were thought to have sighed as they passed by the window going to the dungeon, looking at the final light shining through the windows of Venice. They would let out a sigh, so it took on the name Bridge of Sighs. And as you can see, some of the gondoliers floating on underneath it. So this is a photo of the Ford Parkway Bridge. Its real name is the Intercity Bridge. It connects Minneapolis and St. Paul, and it was originally built to allow workers to get to the Ford plant, which was on the St. Paul side of the river. The lock and dam number 1 also sits right below the bridge, at the base of the bridge, and the barge traffic coming through. I like this photo because of the reflections, and this is on canvas as well. And this photo over here. This photo is of a fawn mule deer. I don't know if you can tell, if you look closely, her eyes are still blue. And a lot of animals, and even some humans, have blue-gray eyes when they're born that change color over time. That's because of the body produces melanin, which is deposited in the irises, which change color, which is dictated by genetics. But in this case, the fawn still had blue-gray eyes. I followed this one and her mother around, and this was taken at the Grand Canyon on the southern rim. I followed them around for about a half hour before they took off. And I was able to get a bunch of photos of them. And this is one I particularly liked.
Photos can be ordered?
Oh yeah, photos. Yeah, all the photos are available here for print, on my website. And that's at micahjtphotos.com, MICAHJT photos.com. Feel free to browse around. I've had thousands of photos on my website. If anything you see that interests you, there's contact information. You can go ahead and contact me, and I can custom make any of the prints and frames. These are more of the eclipse photos. These are done on one inch block acrylic. It's kind of interesting. It's done on metallic paper, and then as you can see, it's a one inch block acrylic. It gives it a very interesting effect. And that's my show. That's my exhibit. Yay!
Last one a little bit Facebook. Yeah.
Yay! Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed the show.
We did.
It's beautiful.
Thank you, Micah.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for
Thank you
your
for coming.
presentation. Thank you.